and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make him stay.
Dorothy Jean Dandridge was born November 9, 1922, in Cleveland, Ohio. She was the second child of Cyril and Ruby Dandridge. Her father was a cabinet maker and a minister while her mother was an actress. Dorothy never saw her father because her parents was still pregnant with her. Dorothy first got into show business when her mother established a sing and dance team called the Wonder Children for her and her older sister Vivian. They traveled around the South U, performing scripts created by her mother, mostly performing in schools and churches. While their mother toured in Cleveland, their team was managed by their mother's lover, Geneva Williams. Ruby and Geneva had a relationship after Ruby divorced Dorothy's father. Dorothy was led a miserable childhood due to Williams. She was often cruel and strict to Dorothy. After the Great Depression there was a loss of work, so Ruby and her two daughters, Dorothy and Vivian, relocated to Hollywood in 1930 when Ruby was only 8 years old. Ruby began working in radio and films, doing bit parts mostly as domestic servant, typical roles offered at that time to black actresses and actors. Dorothy began to study at the McKinley Junior High School. When Dorothy was 12 years old, their team name was changed from the Wonder Children to the Dandridge Sisters. Their dance schoolmate Etta Jones joined their singing and dance team. The Dandridge Sisters achieved quick fame and performed successfully, having a spot in the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York, as well as performing at the music hall in Harlem called the Apollo Theater, which was a famous place for African American performers. Dorothy made her debut in films. An example, Teacher's Boat, released on April 27, 1935. Thereafter she gave many uncredited performances as part of the Dandridge Sisters in films like It Can't Last Forever, 1937, A Day at the Races, 1937, and Going Places, 1938. The role of Helen Fielding was her first credited film role that she did for the 1940 released supernatural crime film For Shall Die, directed by William Bodine. While struggling with her career, she also faced personal setbacks with regard to her marital life and motherhood. To overcome all odds, she chose to immerse herself into more work, and in that pursuit took acting, singing and dancing lessons. In 1953 she did the most remarkable film of her career, Carmen Jones, an all-black musical. The film became a huge commercial success worldwide, garnering $9.8 million. Her outstanding performance in the title role in Carmen Jones gave her a nomination for Academy Award for Best Actress, marking her as the first African-American actress to be nominated for such an award. She also earned a BAFTA and a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. Life magazine featured her on its cover on November 1, 1954, thus marking yet another accomplishment for her as the first black woman to achieve such achievements. She got dragged into the racial stereotype and took longer for her film, Island in the Sun. The film became a subject of controversy due to its bold subject on interracial romance. Her last notable film was Porgy and Bess. Dorothy earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress for acting the role of Bess in the film. It is considered by many as her finest performance. She was married twice. Her first marriage was with famous dancer Harold Nicholas from September 1941 to October 1951. After divorcing from Harold Nicholas, she married Jack Dennison on June 22, 1959, but the couple separated sometime in 1962. Her only child, Carolyn Suzanne Nicholas, born out of her first marriage, was mentally challenged because of brain damage at her time of birth. Dorothy had a 4-year affair with her director, which started from the filming of Carmen Jones. After financial issues led her to sell her home in Hollywood and move to a small apartment in California, and also put her daughter in a relatively smaller mental institute. On September 8, 1965, she died in mysterious circumstances in West Hollywood, California, the cause of which is split between an accidental overdose of 2 drugs. Her funeral service was held on September 12, 1965. Following cremation, her ashes were buried in the Freedom Mausoleum at Forest Lawn Cemetery. This is the story of Dorothy Dandridge.